Welcome, friends, to Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter. We bring you the greatest female voices in the music industry, from the artists, songwriters, and producers, to managers and executives, and all the women who make the music industry what it is today. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, friends, to another episode of Crazy Women Country. I'm Donna.
I'm Paula, and today we have Biddy Ronelle with us. Oh my God, I can't talk. How you doing?
You did practice my name before anyway.
I know.
And that part came out all right.
It's that red dot. The red dot comes up and I'm like...
Red dot syndrome.
Yeah.
Well, then you are being recorded.
It's even worse now because it tells us. It's like,
yes.
Oh dear. But now we're good. I'm good. I think you are.
Good.
We're wonderful.
Tell all our crazy women country fans, who is Biddy?
Oh, good question. She's sometimes confused herself sometimes. No, in all seriousness, I'm a singer-songwriter, as I'm sure most female country musicians are. And I'm from the UK. We're in Derbyshire. And I work as a solo artist. And I'm trying, she says trying in loose terms, to launch my band in winter, which is a heavy kind of country rock band. So that's me in a nutshell. I work in theatre, or I did work in theatre pre-pandemic. Just had our dates through today, though, so it looks like it's all going ahead again end of this summer. And yeah, I teach as well. I teach singing.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
Perfect. The all-round person here.
Yeah, the hands in every kind of tub, especially during the pandemic. I was like, what can I do to make some money?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. So go.
I was just going to start talking about one of her recent releases. And I didn't have the name of the song, but I was just listening to it earlier. We were both listening to it prior to joining you. And so tell us about some of your recent releases.
Well, if I go back to January 2020, it was a good month. I think a good month for most people. Everyone was like, oh, a new year, it's going to be great. And I had my first EP out, and that went to #1 on the UK iTunes country charts and hit the all genre chart as well. And that was great. And then lockdown obviously happened, so no touring happened. And in the past year, I've done 3 singles. So I brought out Thrill in July last year, which was a bit of a summer poppy country song about, kind of one night stands basically. And then I released a charity single called Let the Music Play with my friend who's also a singer-songwriter, David Luke, and that was in August. And that was in aid of Help Musicians, which is a UK-based music charity, which I did benefit from at the start of the pandemic when I was very poor. And then I had a Christmas song out, because why wouldn't you want to do a Christmas song during the pandemic?
Why not?
Why not? That was the thing. I was like, I never thought I'd do this. And that was done with British country rocker Tommy Taylor. And now we have had a bit of a break. It's nearly 6 months. In fact, no, it's over 6 months, which has been nice because I've just kind of concentrated on promoting that music that came out, because you kind of forget about it after a while and you try and keep reminding people like, oh, it's here, please listen to it. Yeah. And now we've got some new stuff coming out very shortly.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
Perfect. Yes, you've got the new single Drink coming out, is that correct? Yes.
Again.
June 21st, I hear. It's coming out June 21st.
It's June the 19th, so just before. So people are associating the end of lockdown. The aim was to get it just before the end of lockdown on the 19th. As long as people listen to it over that weekend, who knows if lockdown's going to end over here. It's not looking very likely at the minute. So it might become a song. It was meant to be a song to celebrate, being back out and being able to go to a nightclub with your friends. But, the irony of it is that it might be one of those songs that we can just drown our sorrows to. Particularly me, who'll be like, well, that went well.
It works either way.
It does, to be fair. When I was talking about, this song it's had 2 different, it was originally written, it was a whole different song called Day Drinking. And I was like, well, it's always going to have something to do with drinking in this song, because it is a co-write with the Stuart in my band who also produces all my music. And then I was just like, oh, well, we've got this vibe, lockdown's ending. Let's see if we can come up with something, short, sweet, and, sing-alongy, and it's got a chant in the middle. I was like, let's throw everything at it like you would a rock song that might get people singing along to it. And like you said, it could be one to just, down a shot to on June the 21st at home. Who knows?
Perfect. Now it sounds like a plan. We'll just sit there and get drunk with it. That's cool.
Yeah, pretty much. And I would love to see it on some drinking playlist somewhere.
That'd be so cool. Yes.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, one can hope.
We need a drinking playlist. We don't have one of those yet.
Well, yeah, we need one. There's enough drinking songs out there to get drunk to.
Absolutely. 5 o'clock somewhere and all that stuff.
All that sort of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely. And I've also noticed you're going on tour, or a few dates, I can't remember the exact date, sorry, with Amelia Quinn.
I have one. Oh, yes. So I've got 2 dates with her, actually. So she is hosting a date in Leeds in August. And I want to say it's August the 4th, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. First week of August. And then I have got Amelia Quinn with me at Camden Chapel in London, which is a gig that I wanted to put on because I have a country radio show that's alternative country. So I wanted, myself and a couple of the guys from the band and someone like Amelia to do an acoustic night in London, just a little bit different from, the mainstream side of country. I love Amelia. I think she's great.
She is.
And she's one of my most played artists on the radio show, like unsigned artists anyway.
That's cool. Yeah, she is amazing. We've spoken to her and we had so much fun with her.
Mm-hmm.
So much fun. So yeah, she's awesome. Absolutely.
So tell us, who are some of the women that have inspired you to do music and even to obviously do the radio show?
Oh, well, I mean, I grew up honestly listening to kind of Faith Hill, Shania Twain. That was the sort of first things that were thrown at me, the Dixie Chicks by my grandparents, because they were quite into their country music. And going back even as far back to like Connie Francis, Doris Day, I originally trained in musical theatre, and like the other job is being in theatre. So Barbara Streisand, anyone who could tell stories. And then it's kind of, as I've got older, and now I'm really into Brandi Carlile, Brandy Clark, people like that. And then bands like Blackberry Smoke, which I know aren't women.
That's okay.
No, it's fine. I just take that one. But then, Candy Carpenter, her project at the moment, Church of Roswell, they are my favorite thing since sliced bread. They're so good, and it's such a great idea to create this little cult that they've got going. And but then probably the biggest band that inspires me are Delta Ray, which they're based out of Charlotte, I think. Yeah, Charlotte, and they're amazing. Just really fun, dark. Well, they've got 2 sides of them, which is really nice to see. They can do some pop, but they can also do some really heavy, dark stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
But the radio show came out of nowhere, by the way. I saw it and I was like, I have this idea for an alternative. I actually pitched doing a Women of Country show as well as doing the alternative, and the alternative won out. But I've always had it in my mind that everything has to be at least 50-50, and that goes across the spectrum. If I can find minority groups in country, then I will play them, because it's growing and growing and growing. Like rap country is a thing, hip hop country is a thing, and the more people that start to hear it, and the more people that start to accept it. I mean, we accept it over here. It's sadly, I saw the CMA. I don't know if you saw the CMA Pride post the other day, but it was appalling. Some of the views underneath it were like, oh. And it's no wonder that no one wants to come out or try something different.
Yeah, it's a tough world to be accepted into, country, I think.
Yeah, and it's mad. It's like, it's the same. It's a broad genre now than it's ever been. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not country like back in the day. It's now beginning to sort of expand, and you know, the fan base is growing, and I don't know.
Yeah.
You're still kind of stuck slightly. They need to bend and
yeah, there's a bit of a glass ceiling above it, and you know, it's always talked about just in general in, you know, British. You say country music, and people are like, oh, I'm not sure I like country, and I'm like, well, do you listen to, you know, Bon Jovi in the 80s? Yeah, I love it. I was like, well, I mean, that's pretty much country. Wanted Dead or Alive these days, that sounds like Zac Brown Band and things like that. I was like, you never know, give it a try.
yeah. I always found that growing up. You said, people asked, oh, what music do you like? You said country, and they're like, type thing, you know. It's like, you don't know country until you listen to it, you know. And of course, back then you had Shania Twain. I mean, Shania Twain crossed pop and country genre, you know, just like that. So, you know, it's got a bit of a stigma behind it. But
and it's mad because, like you said, you say some of these names to people. I mean, even Elvis, and it's like they were playing around with country long before. And, they said everyone knows Shania Twain songs, everyone knows Faith Hill songs, everyone knows Carrie Underwood. Even Kelly Clarkson has some country stuff, and then people are like, oh, but I don't like country. I'm like, oh, okay then.
But you like all these people, and it's like, you'll touch them.
But you made a great point saying the 80s, because I always joke about the 90s, because songwriting wise, it's all about emotion now. There's not a full story in a lot of your top songs. Like if you look at America's top charts right now, I'm like, is there a full story somewhere? Because I haven't seen one yet. I keep spinning, and I'm like, I keep getting stuck at like maybe one margaritas. I don't know, but like those
Funny
different
you should
songs.
say that. I was actually listening to, and I'm trying to learn for a show I'm doing at some point. I was trying to learn Suds in the Bucket, and She's in Love with the Boy, and they are total story songs. Like, and to me, in my head, it makes sense for learning lyrics because I just follow the story, and my head makes sense of it that way. But I find modern songs much harder to learn because I'm like, well, there is no story. I've got nothing to grasp onto here. I just keep repeating the words in a different order.
Yep, pretty much. Welcome to the 90s now.
I love 90s country though. It's like that was the best time, especially for us women. And then what?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we need
and the early
to
odds.
get back to there. We need to get, I mean, there's so many powerhouse women out there, and it's like, why aren't people hearing these people? You know what I mean? It's and you can't blame the pandemic for it, because that's just
that's just
an excuse. You know what I mean? And he said something else over. I was like, no, people like that's just an excuse. We're gonna make you hurt.
Absolutely.
Every little helps. That's what I keep saying on the radio show. I don't even know if anyone listens to it half the time, but we're still here.
Just keep plodding on. You never know what's going to happen. Okay. Now we've had our fun, we can do quick fire questions. Yay!
Oh, okay. Oh, this makes me nervous.
Don't be nervous.
Oh, no.
There are no wrong answers, and there are no math on there, so that you're all good.
Okay, we want no maths questions.
These are dead easy. Yeah.
And no science also.
Okay.
Just I think.
I mean, I watch Grey's Anatomy a lot now, so the science might be better than it was when I was at school, but...
That's very cool. Okay. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Oh, used to be a night owl before the pandemic, and now I have to get up for a shift at 7 a.m. each morning, or go teaching, which is 6 a.m. each morning. So now I'm a morning person, apparently.
Apparently.
Or just a permanently, I always say a permanently exhausted pigeon. That probably defines me a bit better.
That's perfect. Okay. What sitcom family or what sitcom would you be a member of?
Grey's Anatomy. I would be Meredith's Grey's BFF or her nanny. I don't know. Just as long as I'm there. As long as I'm involved, I'm happy.
I've started watching it from the start. I'm now on season 9, I think. And it's just like, great. Very, very cool.
You're in it for the long haul now. You can't give up now.
Oh yeah. You can't stop now.
And I just keep going round and round and watching them again. I'm like, my other half's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, do you remember what we were like with Friends when it first came out, or for the 10 years after? I just keep going back, and
It's one of those things you have to go back to. It's cool. Okay, so if we had a look on your iPod or your phone or wherever you hold your music, What would be the guilty pleasure you'd have hidden somewhere that nobody can find?
Ooh. There's two sides to the spectrum. So when I was, well, actually, to be fair, I still listen to it if I'm in the gym or something, which is like never these days. But I have a symphonic metal playlist.
Oh, okay.
That's all like Finnish metal, like Nightwish and the band Within Temptation. And now Within Temptation followed me last year, and I was like, and then it turned out that Stu, who produces my music, is friends with their guitarist, and I was like,
that is awesome.
That's one side of it. But then on the other side, I used to do like children's entertainment. Like one of my jobs was as a Lapland elf, which is when I was in Finland, many years ago. So there's loads of fun stuff on there, like still like from the party days, like that just remind me of being on holiday. They're like party dance songs.
That's very cool. Like Saturday night, and
Yeah.
How could you not?
Yeah, I can't even remember what some of them are called, but they're on there. That's
even though
the
they're so
pleasure.
old, you still get up to them. So you never forget Saturday night, or I can't remember it. Yeah,
Macarena and all that jazz.
Yeah,
Gangnam Style was always my favorite. I was like, I'm getting a really good workout here on Gangnam Style.
A country version of Gangnam Style. Now that'd be.
Don't tempt me.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Go on. That'd be very funny. Okay, what's the weirdest, cutest, funnest thing a fan has ever done for you?
Do you know what? I didn't even know anyone knew who I was back about 2 years ago now. And it's not cute. It was just a nice moment, and a nice moment to share with the guys in the band. And we were about to do a live session at BBC London on the Gabby Roslin show. Middle of the day, like just kind of sauntered down to whatever it was, Wogan House, wherever it's. I don't even know where it was. And then there was like a couple of people outside, and they started shouting my name, and I was like, I said, what? And I didn't hear it at first. And Dave was like, they're shouting your name, you know that? I was like, oh. And they printed out photos and stuff. And I was like, oh God, some of these photos are so odd. I'd look nothing like that here. And I was like, is this what people feel like when they've not like got any makeup on or anything like that? And they're just papped. Can you sign this airbrushed photo? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But that was probably, that was a highlight of mine.
That's very cool.
That's been really sweet so far.
That's very sweet. I love that.
That's wonderful.
Okay, do you wear boots?
Someone brought a drawer in once. They
Okay.
framed it. So they it's up in the loft. Like a proper sketch. Like
Wow.
and it was like one of my posters from a couple of years ago. And I was like, he just presented it to me after I'd done a theatre show, and I was like, well, I don't know what to do with this now. And the band were like, where's ours?
Sorry, you didn't get one.
Yeah, I was like, just me.
You do not make the A-list.
You're just bad.
But it was just like, I got something for you, and like in his big coat, and I was like, oh no.
What is going to happen next?
Yeah, and it was in Glasgow as well, so anything could have happened, to be honest.
That's so funny. Okay, do you wear boots or heels?
Boots. You know what? I've spent all weekend. I did 3 gigs, the cabaret gigs, so I had to have glitzy heels on and stuff. Oh my days! I was nearly in tears because I was in that much pain. So no, give me a nice pair of boots anytime. Flip flops today. So yeah.
Oh, flip flops is even better. That's just chill. What's your favourite drink?
Any form of wine.
Any form, as long as it's got grapes. Okay.
Yeah, as long as it's got grape. No, actually, don't give me rosé. Rosé gives me a really bad head. We actually had this hazelnut moonshine. O'Donnell or O'Connell? I can't remember. But I got that at like a little artisan market just before Christmas. You know, the time when we could actually go out and do that in that weird little 3-week period. So yeah, that was really nice. And I just started off just having one little tipple each time we had because we've got a pub in our back garden. That was a very good, well laid plan because that was finished just before lockdown as well. And it was like, I'll have a little tipple each night. And then my mate came over when you were allowed and we destroyed that bottle.
That was
as well as 2 bottles of gin or something like that. And I was like, what did we do to ourselves? But that moonshine was lovely. So if you ever get a chance, that's hazelnut moonshine.
Hazelnut moonshine sounds good. What's your favourite holiday?
Ooh. Well, my mum lives in Australia. So, I mean, there's a lot of the holidays. I mean, you've got to obviously save up money to go out there. So it's kind of been every couple of years. But the last time we went over, she just moved up to Cairns and we went up to the Daintree and places around there and rainforest surfed, which you can't do anymore because someone did actually fall. We stayed in a tree house. Don't really recommend that, but it was a good experience because of all the creepy crawlies. I slept in the hammock. I was like, I'm not sleeping on that bed. I'm staying above ground, just where nothing can get me. So that, yeah, I just like going over to Australia, and we keep trying to. Well, I think we're planning for 2024 now for my partner's 40th to get back out there and do it properly and tour around. But I love it. I love going over there.
I just want to ask one question. Are there spiders where you were? Because I'm thinking the whole hammock sounds great, but I'm thinking spiders. That's my first thought.
In Australia?
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah, there was loads up there. That's why I was in the hammook.
Yeah. Okay.
And do you know what? I can deal with spiders. It's snakes I don't deal with very well.
I'm with you there.
Spiders, yeah, okay, they might kill you. The smaller they are in Australia, the more likely they are to kill you. So when you see the big ones, it's like, oh, you're fine. You can put a saddle on it. It's fine. Let him wander around. He's not going to kill me. But you see any snake up in that northern territory, that northern Queensland, it's more than likely going to be really, really deadly. So they teach you how to tourniquet and stuff like that if you get bitten. And I'm like, no. So spiders are fine, snakes, no.
Yeah, snakes give me the heebie-jeebies, I have to say.
She used to live in Sydney, though, and I swear I never saw anything in Sydney.
She used to
be safe to go there, then.
Too built up, yeah.
What's your favourite animal?
Koalas.
Koalas rock.
Aww.
That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah, so I only moved into this house a year ago. It's my other half's house, and I just took over. I was like, well, this is now the music room. And there are those koalas in every room. And he's like, is this something we just got to live with? I was like, yep. But yeah, I when I was 18, something like that, gap year age, wherever, I was a koala wrangler for a month. Volunteered at a koala hospital, and you had to be on this waiting list for about 2-3 years. So I had to write the application when I was about 15.
Wow.
And then that formed part of my gap year.
So wait, well, okay, so you're gonna have to explain that a little bit to me. How do you wrangle koalas? I mean, I know the whole rodeo horses, things like that. I grew up in the country, I got all that. But I mean, do you net them, or do you put the little thing on the neck?
It's the little collar, yeah. So it was always, because it was rescuing, sometimes it was pretty grim. But on the most part, because it was a koala hospital, so they had the little pens, and you go in and feed the ones that couldn't quite do it themselves, and it was, just a nice job. But again, a lot of creepy crawlies on that job.
Yeah, creepy crawlies are the bad things.
Yeah. They'd just be crawling on the koala itself there, and I was like, how did you not feel that? Massive, great big spider, and it's like, it's fine.
You don't mind me, I'm gonna smack you because there's a spider. Sorry.
I know, yeah, God, yeah.
I didn't hit you.
But I always found them quite gentle. Everyone's like, oh, koalas can be vicious. And I'm like, yeah, maybe, but I never, never got scratched. I got peed on a lot, but that was it. From what I remember. If anyone just tunes into this podcast now and be like, what?
What are they talking about?
Koalas. Koalas and country music. There you go.
Yeah, you go. What more can you ask for in life? Okay, if you could add somebody to Mount Rushmore, who would it be and why?
Where's my brain just go? Is Alexander Hamilton on Mount Rushmore?
No.
No. I think he should be on there, shouldn't he?
There you go.
Because I've watched the musical and I'm convinced. I don't know, actually, his wife did a lot more, didn't she? Like Eliza, she set up all the orphanages in New York City. So maybe a nice female from that era would be, you know.
Sounds like a plan.
That's a great choice.
Okay, what was the first concert you went to?
Alanis Morissette, which I'm really proud of. I was 14 and I was babysitting for her sound engineer. Which was bonus. What wasn't a bonus was that I was a bit overzealous and didn't wait outside and just went in. And he was like, he'd been trying to ring me dad, and I could have gone to meet her. And no, I was just so anxious to get inside. And he was like, well, we did wait for you and we're trying to get hold of you, and she was going to do a meet and greet, but then you disappeared. I was like, so in terms of life regrets, that's up quite high.
That's close to number one, that one.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite color?
Oh, green, emerald green.
What's the best thing since sliced bread?
I was saying this today. What was I saying? It was good. The best thing since sliced bread. Oh, I'll tell you what I got the other day that was really handy. It is a magnetic phone case. So now I can have my phone here, and I've got a screen up here that I can put it there, and it will hold it, and I don't have to have a camera tripod anymore. I can just put it up there, and it cost me $5 off Amazon. And I saw it because it's those useless but not useless TikTok videos that are like Amazon finds that you need. So that's my favorite thing at the moment.
I must admit, some of those TikTok videos are hilarious. Some of the things that people come up with, I'm like, really?
I know, but then some of them are so like laugh out loud, and like that's all I end up doing now. I've turned into a child, you know, they're just hooked on their phones, watching TikTok, and now I'm doing TikToks mostly with my cat, because I don't have the originality to do anything else really. And then you put your own music up and no one looks at it. But they look at cat videos.
Everyone loves cat videos.
But then there's also some useful stuff, like, you know, I'm like, oh, I find that. My other favorite thing, clothing, is that Shein website, that the cheap clothes. And I'm finding everything I get from there fits. If I size up, it fits.
There you go.
Nice.
The general rule, size up once and it will fit. Everything will fit off that website, which is making me very happy during lockdown.
I love that. That's very cool. Very cool.
If you could talk to anyone, alive or dead, who would it be, and what would you want to talk about?
Ooh, I would like to get, and this is kind of like, I'd like to make, my granddad passed away when I was 11, and he was probably in our family the person who was most into music, and he had this massive record collection, and he used to play the guitar and sing. Like, he was a steel worker, but he would sing in the clubs and stuff and that. And you think, you know what, I wonder, like, we only went up north to see my grandma a couple of weeks ago. We went up, took my other half around. I was like, oh, this is my granddad's buried. I don't know. We just went on a walk, like, around, like, the countryside where I grew up, and we just passed that. And I remember thinking, I was like, oh, I wonder, like, you know, if we had a conversation now, what he'd be saying about, you know, the music side, and if he'd have an opinion or if he wouldn't have an opinion. And yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool to hear. Or not, it could have been a big critic, but you know, you listen to your family, don't you? Or I don't listen to my family. If I listen to my family, like, my mum is, again, she was a musician, so she's like, well, I don't quite like what you did here. Oh, I don't think it, you know. I'm like, shh. I'll always say it after it's been mastered and things like that. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing that again because I can't afford it. And you should have said this when I sent you the demo. But yeah, that's that.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, so if you weren't doing music, what would you be doing?
I would be teaching full time, I think. I do teach a couple of days a week at Performing Arts College, which is a great job. And the more I kind of get on it, like older, the more I think it would probably lean towards, more teaching. Yes, I'll keep the original music going. But whether or not I take every gig going under the sun just for some money it's that. In fact, I think lockdown kind of brought that into question a lot more. To being like the work-life balance, because before I'd be out every weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, exhausted, and not really getting to spend time with the family. And now I guess my priorities have changed, as I'm sure a lot of people's have. So I think going forward, I might be, and I'm doing my more teacher training this year anyway, so we'll see how that goes.
Wonderful.
That's good.
Yeah. So, if you were a Disney character, what character would you be?
I'd be a villain. I'm always a villain. I think that's just been instilled with me. Like when I trained in musical theatre, basically, if you were slim, blonde, tall, you would be the leading lady. If you were curvier, and I was always curvier, even at a size 8, 10, would not have made a nice. Well, I would have made a risque Disney princess, let's put it that way. So they're always like, if you're casting type, it's always going to be the villain, or it's going to be, lame as you're going to be one of the lovely ladies. I was like, oh, okay, great. So when I think of that, I always think of like people like Ursula, the Sea Witch, or the Wicked Witch. And I would love to play those roles as well. So if they ever come up,
That'll be cool.
How about Disney on Ice? Are you going to do Ursula on Ice or no?
No. Does she skate, or can she just sit there?
I don't know. I've never seen it on Ice.
If she can just sit there, I'll do it.
As long as you don't have to skate, we'll just sit there and not
Can you
move.
imagine skating with like tentacles?
I've never ice skated, so no. But yeah, that sounds like fun.
No, I've never ice skated. We used to have an ice skating rink near me as well. My mum would never let me go. She saw someone get their fingers sliced off when she was a kid. So she was like, yeah, you're not doing that. Because the school used to go all the time. And Brownie used to go all the time. But no, I was not allowed.
Good.
So on a more positive note, what's your favorite ice cream?
Yeah. Yeah. Ice cream.
You know what? And I don't like them these days, but in the 90s, Calippos, because they tasted different. Maybe it's just because you're a kid. Or Twisters. But the mini Twisters, because apparently they're only like 38 calories, so I can have one and not feel guilty.
Yeah, because there's only very minimal ice cream, isn't there, in a Twister?
Yeah, exactly.
It's mainly lollipop.
And the cat comes over and wants half of it anyway, so I'm like, well, 15 calories gone for the cat.
That's a good excuse. Be half into the cat. There you go.
Now when you have 2 cats, you're not going to get any.
No, she'll probably be like, well, this is mine. No.
You get like 7.5 calories.
Yeah, well, that's better, isn't it? Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I just buy them now because of that reason. So I guess they're my favorite.
So what's one of your favorite snacks?
Oh, I really like the coated peanuts. Like the crunchiness. And I'm going through a Greek yogurt phase at the minute. I think it's partly again lockdown. You just go and do your supermarket shop and you're a little bit bored because it's the highlight of your week. So you kind of spend longer in there and you're like, oh, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. So I got onto the Greek yogurt bandwagon a couple of weeks ago and that's going well.
Wonderful. That is the truth. You do spend more time in the supermarkets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I spent like going down like the aisle. We have a big Tesco near us and there's quite a lot of Eastern Europeans around here. And so they've got like the full aisle of stuff that I'm like, I wonder what I could do with that. Or I wonder, I'm just going to try it, put it in. I can't read the label. I don't know what it is, but
Just dumping it in out there. That's fine.
Turned out they've got some really nice stuff that goes on salads. Like not sauerkraut, but like other pickled stuff that I'm like, I'm down with this. Makes it more interesting for a salad.
So, hypothetically, if I told you I need to hide a body, do you know a good place?
Yeah, my dad's farm.
Wonderful.
My dad is so he inherited from my other granddad a couple of years ago some disused like farm buildings and land to sold off the main house, and they have been trying for forever to get this planning permission to do these houses. And it's so crazy that the fact that the UK wants people to use old dwellings, but then there's so many forks in the road trying to get there. So yeah, around there, no one would check.
Perfect, wonderful.
and there's a pig farm nearby, so the smell is covered.
There you go. We're sorted.
So, tell everyone what would be a good theme song for your life right now.
My life right now. What's that? I've got it in my head. I don't know. Because June is the most manic month I've ever done since I probably first started being self-employed like 5 years ago. So I'm going to call it Manic Mondays. Let's go with that. Manic Mondays, the Bangles. Because I missed my alarm this morning because I got in from my gig at about midnight last night. And I don't know, after a gig, you're still a bit wired, even though I'm tired. But your body's tired, your mind's like racing. So I did the whole thing, stayed up on my phone, but I didn't set my alarm. Or I did set my alarm on one phone, but that phone was on charge. And then I had my iPad and didn't set it on there. And it was my other half was like, what time was your shift meant to start this morning? I was like, 7:30. And it was 8. And I was like, oh no. Day one of a new shift pattern and I failed. So yeah, Manic Mondays.
Yeah. So tell our viewers what album or artist or song or multiple songs or whatever that they should listen to before they die.
Ooh. Oh, that's so good. Like, I mean, for me, it's a toss-up between Brandy Carlisle and Brandy Clark, the two Brandys. I think it's song-wise, I think the story by Brandy Carlisle has always been my favourite because it's just such an epic, great big song. There is an album out that I think everyone should listen to. Paula Cole has done an album, and it is incredible. I think it's called... Is it called Quilt? I'm going to find it. I'm going to look at my phone right now whilst we're talking here because it's a cover. It's a covers album. And she did a covers album a couple of years ago and she's kind of just finished it off. But it's so good. So good. What's it called? American Quilt. And it's songs like Wayfaring Stranger, Black Mountain Blues, God's Gonna Cut You Down, all those songs just done really, really well. So that's my favorite at the minute and I think everyone should listen to definitely.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
And you talk about the story that was in Grey's Anatomy.
Yes, it was. Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm glad you know. It comes back again in a couple of seasons.
That's very cool. Very, very cool.
And that's how she got her. That's kind of how she got her break, though, as well. Like in terms of people knowing who she was.
Yeah.
And then
cool.
Outside of the initial Americana following.
Yeah. And it was like boom.
That's the way to do it. TV or film, get your song in there.
Exactly, and everyone hopes for it. Like you write to people and you never hear anything back.
Just keep trying.
Yeah.
Okay, who is your favourite CWC host?
See what?
CWC, Crazy Women Country host.
Oh no. I can't choose. Oh my god.
She's like,
it's okay, it's all good. We expected that.
Like choosing your favorite child. I'm Switzerland. I'm always Switzerland, by the way, when it comes to like disputes. I'll just go to Switzerland mode. So
that's perfect.
That's so cool. No worries. It's all good.
So I think from now on, when you start asking that question, we'll start doing that. Have you all seen Blake Shelton on The Voice where he does that little finger thing?
When you point,
where Blake Shelton does it, where he's like he wants people to pick him. You know, I'm gonna start doing that.
I'm kidding.
We should have a little arrow comes up.
Little arrow, yeah.
But they can't see it though.
Right?
Well, we need like a little. We need it on the string, so it comes from the ceiling. You just roll it down.
Yeah. Like,
That'd be cool. That'd be so cool. So, tell all our Crazy Women Country fans what has the rest of this year in store for you.
Well, we have the new single out, June the 19th, and then again, it's a little bit of a hiatus. We are doing gigs over the summer. There's 1 or 2 festivals. There's writers' rounds, and then my plan is we've just had to find another guitarist. But to launch the band in about November, because we've got some support slots. Well, I mean, the first single should be out in November for the band. If it's not, it will be February. So I just want to miss out December and January. So it's either side of Christmas. There will be band stuff coming, and I don't know how that's going to go down because it's heavy country rock. Well, it's Americana rock country very loosely. So people will either like it or they won't. It's very, if you've heard my song Run, it's along those lines and a little bit heavier. Because no one's kind of doing it over here, and I listen to a lot of Blackberry Smoke, people like Dorothy. Yeah, I just wanted to see if it worked or if it doesn't. I know it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'll try something else. I've ordered the t-shirts now, so I'm hooked.
So, what is the name for the band?
Biddy and the Bullets. And that I put that to a Twitter poll, to be honest.
That's great.
And it was, I think it
was... What was the runner-up?
Oh, I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
There was all sorts flying around, and then we had band name generators going on, and then it was a festival organizer who suggested it. I was like, well, I'm hoping you book us next year, so I'm going to go with your suggestion. And it's kind of stuck, so that's what it is going forward.
That's a good name, actually. I like that.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool.
My mum was like, oh, it's not very original. I was like, thanks, Mum.
Oh, parents, you have to love them.
I know. I remember she was like, you need your first album to be called this. And I was like, that has nothing to do with anything I've ever written in my life. And she's like, well, it's just a quirky name. She was like, I need you to call it A Bomb in a Bull. Not the one word, but A Bomb in a Bull. And I'm like, Mum, you were a punk rocker in the 80s. It would have made sense back then.
It doesn't quite work.
Yeah. No.
It's a great name, though, but yeah. You kind of need the album to go with it.
I was like, I'm not sure I've got any songs that would suit that, but yeah. So
that's what the album name now. You just need to write the album to go with it.
Yeah.
We you watch, maybe the band stuff will have the album name.
There you go. See?
Oh, we look forward to that one too. Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh God. I'll live up to it now. I never know what to call things though. Like, even if it comes to songs, I don't want to go for anything too obvious, even though I've got a song coming out called Drink, and the last song was called Happy Christmas. But I think Happy Christmas was done really tongue-in-cheek anyway.
Well,
I was like, because it was based on The Darkness, their Christmas single that they did.
Oh, yeah.
Christmas time, let the bells ring. We were like, let's try doing something like that.
Why not? That's very cool. That is very cool, though. Perfect. I love that. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It's been fun.
Thank you very much for having me on.
No worries. So make sure you follow all of Biddy's socials. They will be on the link below. And keep an eye out for Biddy and the Bullets at the end of the year.
Yeah, hopefully the end of the year, if not 2020.
Yeah, end of the year, starting next year.
I can't deal with musicians.
Thank you all for joining us for another great episode. Have a great day, everyone.
Have fun, guys.
If you enjoyed today's episode of Crazy Women Country, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Be sure to click the subscribe button for new interviews weekly. And thank you, friends, for joining us today on Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter.